check out that new style of playmat feature coming out with Noble.com. So cool, so wow.
Hello everybody, my name is Connor and we are here with Marco versus Yamato. This is a pretty good game. I definitely know I made some mistakes, so I want to talk about it. At the second dawn, I'm going to go ahead and cycle. I'm getting a lot of duplicates in my hand, and a lot is 4. So I am thinking about putting one of the Rayleighs to the bottom, and of course not the alt-art. The alt-art is too pretty, so we end up putting Rayleigh to the bottom and passing turn. Yamato is definitely very threatening. If you aren't familiar with the Yamato leader, she has double attack, and that is, as a 4-life leader, that is scary. And I think that in this turn here, I make a big misplay. I feel like this was a really bad choice. So my opponent goes ahead and swings 8 at me, and I go ahead and use half of the cards in my hand to counter out. There was no banish on this, so I drew into another Dofi, so I would have had plenty of blockers for the next turn. I really don't think that was a good play. I think the double attack honestly just startled me, scared me, didn't want it, and I think that really set the tone for the game. But we do end up drawing Dragon for our leader ability, and we end up discarding him, and there I am just saying, oh, I'm gonna minus 2,000 to that character there, just having some fun, goofing around with my opponents. I think I mentioned this last time I played. My opponent, relatively new to the game, but he's picking it up, man, and it is tough for me. So we drop our Doflamingo blocker and just try to sort out the top of our deck, trying to see where we want things. We definitely want that rush ace. That rush ace could be really, really good, really strong. But as you can see, I'm also trying to put some counters up top. So there I am, also counting which turn, and I'm like, I gotta check my hand, see what I have. And the problem I am experiencing with this, and I think I mentioned it last Marco video, I keep forgetting to add in the extra draw from leader ability. Thankfully, it's not something like where, you know, it has to be this, or I have to bottom deck it. I can just put it back or keep it in my hand. But unfortunately, my opponent plays good Datsu and pops my Doflamingo blocker, and just the 5, I am thinking about countering out of it, but I do realize that my hand size is really low at this point. So I take, and we get a 9-cost Sanji, and wow, a 9-cost Sanji. So our deck, I gotta work on my shuffling, guys. That is what I'm learning with this game. Kind of a rough start to the game, and if we had taken that first hit, we could have cycled Sanji for to one of the Sanjis to potentially keep Dragon or something like that. And we draw into that ace that we set up, and you know, we just don't have a lot of counter to deal with this Yamato. And yeah, they're applying a lot of pressure, and we cannot keep up. So now that we are at 2 life, though, Dofi won't be Datsu this time. So we swing pretty aggressively there, and they go ahead and put their really cool dice, because they said they had never gotten to use their dice after they got them, and they wanted to use them. I said, go ahead, King, use your dice. So we end up dropping another Doflamingo, hoping to give us some protection. Just because we are struggling. We are definitely, I really do feel like that countering out of that first hit was not the play. Granted, knowing that I had 2 Sanjis coming to me with that first double hit, I don't know. I think it was just kind of a rough match, not really seeing what we need. And I feel like that is a pretty solid problem with this deck, is just not seeing what you need a lot of the time. And like, I know I do have the Ezo Searcher, but we don't see him. So my opponent does play down the Hiyori, putting something spicy in his life, which I made myself a mental note, like my opponent put something into life, and promptly forgot it, so that was really good of me there. But they go ahead and play down the Momonosuke, putting Hiyori back in life, and honestly, I know I'm editing this right now, like this man getting his life, it is a pain to do the life edits that I do, but I like doing them. So I 2K out of the 5K swing, and the 8K Gadatsu gets blocked. No, your opponent has to be at 2 life, I'm pretty sure, to attach that Rested Dawn. So, nasty stuff. And now we do have the option to play down Ace, I believe. And I think here, if I remember correctly, I do make another misplay. And I think you can tell when I'm getting nervous and when I'm thinking, because my legs are bouncing. They're literally bouncing right now as I'm recording this. And I just saw my camera shake pretty good. There it goes. Can't tell if it's the camera shaking in the video or my desk shaking, or a little bit of both, but we do end up minusing Gadatsu there. And I am torn between potentially dropping the Margot blocker or dropping Ace. I don't want to drop the, what is that, King Do, I believe? The 2K counter, 4-cost 2K counter, because I desperately need that 2K counter, I feel. And I do decide to drop Ace. I want to go aggressive. I want to try and clear Gadatsu. Minusing Gadatsu to like 1 at this point, I think. Yeah. And then Momonosuke to 3. Excuse me, it is late, but I wanted to do this, so I go ahead and swing the 6 into Gadatsu, and he goes away, thank goodness, and I swing the 7 into life, hoping he blocks with Momonosuke, but why would he? Realistically, why would he? I think I should have just played Marco down. I think that would have been a better choice to have that block, and yeah, just I don't know. So the 5K swing coming out, and I use Marco to counter out of it. I am just not pleased with any of the things I'm doing, and he taps 9 Dawn to drop Sanji, and I'm like, okay, I am in trouble. I don't have enough in my hand to be able to live. So we put Rayleigh on top because my plan is to minus Zoro by 3. I think I can pop the, what is his name? Momonosuke? But I've got to do something to try and get him down, and I'm really thinking about it. It would be different if I didn't use the Marco to counter out. Totally different. So I do go ahead and minus Momonosuke. Oh, excuse me, minus by 2, making him, I think that's why I have the 2 there. And I do decide to go the Sanji into Rayleigh play, and man, that alt-art Rayleigh looks so good. I would never own that if I didn't pull it, but I did pull it in pre-release, so shout out to me. One of the only good things I've pulled from 08. If you haven't seen the 08 box opening we did, oh my god, it was atrocious. So we end up minusing Momonosuke by 2 and popping Momonosuke, and then minusing Zoro by 3, I believe, and I put that there. So he is a 6,000 power, and that was my hope and my idea, is he stays a 6,000 power 3 6K swings are a little easier to deal with than 3 9K swings. So, we're just counting the attacks I have. I have 2 attacks. I do swing 6 here. And yeah, I think potentially this is a mistake. I think that I wasn't thinking clearly. I know he put something there. Watching this back, I should have known he put something there, and I should have assumed it was something with a trigger. So my opponent is thinking about whether he wants to take it, and we are chatting about it. Sometimes I wish that I didn't do voiceovers, because sometimes the games are so fun with commentary. But he does play out the Denjiro, and that just made it a whole lot harder to survive next turn. We do have 3 2Ks in hand, so maybe, but with 4 attacks coming at us, it is slim. My only hope is that he does end up putting some pressure on the ace, or taking one of those swings and swinging into ace. So I'm not feeling very confident at this point. Zoro is just, it's a monster, man. It is a absolute monster, and I don't think I have any. Otherwise, I would probably put him in my my Rosinante deck. So this is another thing that was just awful. So he ends up tapping 2 to play the Onami, giving Zoro Banish. And from our understanding, and I double checked with some other guys in the community after the game, all of Zoro's swings now have banished, and I think that's what we're talking about here, because it says Onami says, and I'll put a picture of Onami, I'll put a picture of Onami. It says for this turn, so he ends up banishing a Charlotte Pudding, which I'm like, okay, 1K counter, that stinks. He swings a 6, and I decide not to counter out, banishing Charlotte Pudding. He goes ahead and rests Nami, just so he can visualize that he can't swing with Nami, which, I get it. When you're going for lethal, you gotta really think about these things. So he taps Zoro, swinging the, I think he swung 6, 11, and 11, I think? Something along those lines. I can't remember fully, but he's swinging pretty big here. And we end up, there is a Rayleigh in our life, so not too much help out of the life, so I don't feel too terrible about the banish. But re-standing, I give him the 2Ks, and I got 1 card in hand. It is done. I know it's done, and it's just rough. But yeah, it was a good game. My opponent played very well. I think Marco's just not working for me. I just don't think I have. I think this deck, as I mentioned, the deck list is Jansuko's deck list. I really like his deck list, and he plays it very well. I watched him play it on the Strongest Wizards channel, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta play this playlist. But realistically, Jansuko is on a whole different level than I am, so I still have a lot to learn in this game until I can play a game even close, even in the same ballpark as Jansuko. I think you guys all know. That being said, I am thinking about, depending on if I get into grad school or not, I am thinking about doing a series where I train for my Nats invite. So I think it'd be really fun, and it would be cool to show the process of taking somebody who's mediocre at the game and making them better. And I've talked to one of the guys in the community, and he said he'd be down to help. And I don't know, I just think that could be really interesting. So if you guys are interested, let me know. Also, if you guys want playmats, thousandnoble.com, shameless plug. Okay, I'll shut up now. Thank you guys so much. Like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.